I want to tell you about a show with no network deal, no streaming platform or development deal or pilot season or notes from rooms full of executives. It was written by one person, shot in a real coffee shop in Brooklyn, New York, with a small crew of friends. Small idea, massive success. The show is called Brooklyn Coffee Shop. It launched in June 2023, and in less than 3 years, it's become the social sitcom that major brands and agencies are now actively trying to replicate. Today, we are breaking it down, how it was made, why it works, and what it tells us about where branded storytelling is going right now. Because unlike the other case studies in this series, this one isn't history, it's actually happening right now. Brooklyn Coffee Shop, created by Pooja Tripathi, a New York-based writer, comedian, performer, who in 2018, as I understand it, quits her corporate fashion marketing job right in the middle of a meeting. Her boss had been insulting her in front of some colleagues, and she'd watched it happen to too many other people. That morning, she decided she was done. She walks out of a salary job with no plan, I've been there, and spent the next several years making comedy for social media, taking part-time work on the side to pay rent, and slowly building an audience. In 2023, she's sitting in a cafe with a friend, and they spend about half an hour riffing on alternative dairy products like oat milk, the increasingly absurd lengths people will go to customize a coffee order. She goes home, writes 4 episodes, casts her friends, cold emailed coffee shops asking to film on location. One said yes, a Vietnamese-owned cafe in East Williamsburg, Brooklyn. They shot the first batch. One episode hits 8 million views on Instagram, another 3 million on TikTok. The rest land comfortably in the millions. And within the first month of launching a dedicated series account, they hit 25,000 followers. That was the signal the show could stand on its own. So, what is Brooklyn Coffee Shop exactly? At its core, it's a short-form sketch comedy series. Each episode, typically 1 to 2 minutes long, introduces a new customer walking into the cafe. The 2 recurring characters are Time, the dry, deadpan barista, played by Tripathi herself, and Kale, her co-worker, played by Daryl Gene Daughtry Jr. Every episode is a collision. A recognizable cultural archetype walks in and tries to order a coffee, and the comedy comes from how that person reveals themselves through the transaction. The coffee snob, who interrogates the origin and processing method of every bean. The virtue signaling bro who name drops his activism while ordering a drink that costs $16. The competitive hipster who needs you to know he was into this cafe way before it got popular. The crypto guy, the Pilates instructor, the tourist trying to understand why the menu doesn't have a medium size. These aren't random characters, they're precisely observed portraits of urban identity and how it's become tangled up with consumption. What you order at a coffee shop in 2026 is a statement, performance. And Tripathi holds a mirror right up to it with enormous affection and surgical wit. The show has drawn comparisons to Portlandia, the IFC series that ran for 9 seasons, just completely skewering Portland's progressive culture, but Brooklyn Coffee Shop does it in under 2 minutes, organically on TikTok and on Instagram. It's built for vertical screens and short attention spans, and it's a TV show designed for the way people actually watch TV now, mostly in their phones, stolen moments on the subway, in the library, scrolling. The production quality is also worth noting. It isn't lo-fi content. Every episode has this visual polish that stands out sharply and a feed full of shaky phone footage. It looks like it belongs on a streaming platform, but it lives on TikTok. This started with no studio or network or brand backing, just sharp writing, a small crew of talented friends, and something genuinely true to say. The show didn't find an audience, it built one from scratch, organically, by being genuinely funny and genuinely honest. And in December of 2024, Tripathi quit all of her part-time jobs. Brooklyn Coffee Shop is now her full-time job. Yes, the numbers tell you that it works, but I want to dig into the why, because I think that is the more useful question. Director Nate Dagan identified 3 things when asked about the secret to the series' growth. Number one, short episode length that makes it easy to binge, high quality cinematography that stands out visually, and Tripathi's satirical yet casual writing style. That combination is harder to pull off than it sounds. Most short form content, it sacrifices one of the three. It's quick and ugly, or it's beautiful and slow, or well written and very off the mark and cold. Brooklyn Coffee Shop manages all three at once. And it does it consistently, episode after episode, which is what turns casual viewers into followers. But I do think that there's something deeper than the craft here. The show works because it's honest. Tripathi isn't punching down at these characters. She's not mocking people she considers beneath her. She's holding a mirror up to a coffee culture that she lives inside. The Brooklyn creative class, the performative wellness world, the guilt-laden consumerism of people who want their coffee order to mean something. The audience recognizes themselves, or they recognize somebody who they know, or they recognize somebody who they're slightly terrified of becoming. That recognition creates a relationship. You feel like the show understands the world that you move through, and you keep coming back because it keeps being right. There's also this structural intelligence to how the series handles its recurring cast. Time and Kale are the constants. They're the anchor, the familiar faces you always return to. Each new customer is the variable. The fresh joke, the new archetype, classic sitcom construction. Cheers, Seinfeld, The Office. It's a fixed world and visitors who disturb it. Brooklyn Coffee Shop is doing that on TikTok in under 2 minutes, and it's working as well as any network pilot I've ever seen this whole decade. Here is where it gets interesting for anybody thinking about marketing and that side of things. Brooklyn Coffee Shop is not a branded show. It wasn't funded by a company trying to reach an audience. It was made by a creator for a particular audience because she had something funny and true to say. And yet, it's become one of the most important case studies in branded entertainment, and correct me if I'm wrong, but without ever meaning to. Think about what this format is sitting on top of. It's a recurring cast in a fixed world and a loyal audience that returns episode after episode, millions of views per episode with no paid distribution behind it. Any brand that wants to reach a culturally aware consumer could potentially attach to a show like this and own that audience. The creative infrastructure is already proven. The audience behavior is already documented, and then the brands noticed. In August 2025, Marketing Brew, one of the most widely read trade publications in the industry, ran a feature specifically about brands trying to replicate the Brooklyn Coffee Shop model. Payment company Built launched a scripted short sitcom called Roomies about young New Yorkers living together, directly inspired by Brooklyn Coffee Shop. Oatly produced a 9-episode series called Café con el Abuelo, where I butchered that. An employee brings his grandfather to try unfamiliar coffee drinks. These brands are doing something very specific. They're not making ads. They're commissioning shows and using Brooklyn Coffee Shop as the proof that the format scales. What Brooklyn Coffee Shop is proving, and this is pretty cool, is that the social show format works. That people will follow a fictional world on TikTok the same way they used to follow a sitcom on network TV. They'll binge it, they'll tag friends, they'll argue about which episode is best, and they'll show up for new ones. The format is proven, the audience behavior is documented right there for everybody to see. The only question is which brands are brave enough to make something worth watching. If you've been watching this series from the beginning, I want to take a moment just to connect some dots. In 1987, Nescafe hired a proper TV cast, wrote a 6-year romantic drama, and convinced millions of people to care about a coffee ad. They did it on 4 television channels with no ability to target or track, and they moved 75% more product over the course of a decade. In 2014, a feminine care brand funds a vampire show on YouTube. No logos until mid-season. 93% brand recall. 61% of viewers became first-time customers. A fan community named themselves and showed up for years. In 2023, a creator and a small group of friends builds this social sitcom with millions of views per episode. No studio, no deal, no brand backing. And now major brands are reverse engineering what she did. Different decades, different platforms, different scales. But the same truth is running through all of it. People don't resist brands. They resist being interrupted. They resist being talked at. Give them something genuinely worth watching, and they'll invite you into their feed, their Friday night, their conversations with friends. Goldblend proved it on broadcast. Carmela proved it on YouTube. Brooklyn Coffee Shop proved it on socials. And in doing so, handing every brand a roadmap. The only thing left to do is follow it. Brooklyn Coffee Shop is on TikTok and Instagram. I'll link the series in the description. Go watch a few episodes. It'll be the most useful 10 minutes you spend on your phone today. Or not. If this series on branded entertainment has been useful to you at all, please subscribe. I'm going to keep pulling apart the campaigns and the creators who are showing us what storytelling actually looks like now, and I will see you in the next one.